Hello there. My name is Olatunji Shobodu, and I'm here again. It's Leadership Monday. Thank you for joining me to take delivery of your nugget for this week. Every week, I come to you bearing a nugget or two to help your leadership assignment for this week. It's a great week, promises to be glorious. What would you be doing differently this week? I've come today to challenge you. Is your leadership becoming boring? Have your people, gotten used to you and the way you do leadership? All right. Or you want to create some excitement. You want to give them new reasons to look forward to something exciting from you. I mean, you and I know that it's one thing to be reliable, it's another thing to be predictable. Yes, they are great, but you don't want to be too predictable because the risk of being too predictable is that you can become boring. You can become boring to your people. Yes, you can become boring. All right, so I want to challenge you this week, asking you to look inwards and try to do something differently. Today, we're speaking on the subject add spice to your leadership or spice things up. Spice things up. It's time to spice things up. It's time to do differently. It's time to bring out, another joker. It's time to show a different side of you. We're coming to you on the platform of Emmet Leadership Academy. At Emmet Leadership Academy, we nurture leaders based on truth. We nurture leaders based on truth. And what truth am I bringing to you today to help you do leadership right? What vital truth, do you want to engage or activate this week, to notch up your leadership effectiveness to a new level? And let me come to you from Isaiah 43 and verse 19. What it says there, it says, behold, I do a new thing. Behold, I do a new thing. It said, now it shall spring forth. All right. Will you not know it? It said, I will create rivers in the desert places. I would even make a way, all right, in the wilderness, all right, or in the forest. Okay. So even God, the grandmaster leader, all right, was about doing new things, was about doing new things. And you and I must not forget to do new things. You and I must not become too comfortable in our role as leaders that comfort, undermines our effectiveness, because they say what? Familiarity breeds contempt. How does familiarity, how do you get to the point where familiarity rules? Familiarity rules when you have become too predictable. Familiarity rules when we know the next thing you are going to do. Familiarity rules when we can predict you and predict you, with a high level of accuracy. And when that happens, it's like there's nothing more that you have to offer. But that can't be true. All right. He said, behold, I do a new thing. Behold, I do a new thing. What new thing are you going to do? What new thing are you going to do? Now, by saying that, even God Himself was creating, excitement. Oh, what new thing are you about to do? Have you, in fact, begun to do it and we didn't take notice? He was creating anticipation. He wanted the people, you and I, to keep looking out for something different, to keep anticipating, what more we can learn. All right. There is something more that your people can learn from you. They haven't learned everything. They haven't benefited maximally yet. The journey is not complete. Where you are taking them is still a distance away. All right. But you are beginning to look like you have nothing more that you have to offer. And you have plenty that you have to offer. You have plenty that you have to offer. At a point, the people were going to get very familiar with the way Jesus was going about doing leadership. So they knew, for example, that very early, he would go out very early in the day before, morning to pray. They even knew exactly where he would be. And so, people came looking for him. And Peter and his colleagues ran to where they knew they were going to find him. And they did find him there, by the way. They did find him there. And Peter told him, oh, wait, the people are looking for you. The people are looking for you. Interesting what Jesus' response is. He said, come, let us go. He said, we need to preach in this place, and we need to preach in other places as well. We need to preach in other places. All right. So he was telling them, this is not all about me. This is not all that I have to offer. This is not all that your journey with me entails. Your journey with me entails much more. There is so much more that you are yet to learn. Okay, we have just preached in one or two places, but there are many more places that we need to get to. There are many more places that we need to get to. So he pulled out a new card. He was about doing a new thing. He had, a new agenda, item to add to his list of the experiences that he needed to take them through. And that was precisely what happened. So, what are you going to do differently this week? What is new that your people have not seen about you that they need to see this week? What is that gesture or that action that you want to take that will help them, to move them a notch ahead, a notch in maturity, a notch in learning, all right, from you? You need to think about it. Don't do it the way you've always done it. Don't do it the way you did it last week. Think about it. There's something more that you need to do. There's something new that you need to do. And there was a time, that the people observed Jesus. I think it's in Mark 6, verse 2. And they said, they looked at him. They had never seen what he did, the expression of wisdom in this case. And they had to say, what wisdom is this? He pulled out a new joker. He pulled out a new joker. He said, what wisdom is this? They were listening to him. They were amazed at what they had. They had a different perspective about an issue. I mean, the reason that they were saying, what wisdom is this? Is that, they felt they knew something. They weren't entirely, illiterate about what he was talking about, but they had not experienced that level of wisdom or that dimension of wisdom. And they were wondering, where did he get this kind of wisdom? Why is it, able to make statements like this? These statements are really, meaningful. They're really impactful. They open our eyes to see the things that we have not seen, before. And of course, they notch up at the level of our wisdom. You can see him there pulling out that card once again. They had to acknowledge, what wisdom is this? What wisdom is this? Another occasion, he spoke in a particular dimension, and they had to acknowledge in this case, they said, wow, we have not seen this in this fashion. So this was even an issue that, they were accustomed to. This was something that they probably could have dealt with themselves. Okay. But he did something that they had to acknowledge. We haven't seen it in this fashion. We have seen people get healed, all right, but we have not seen it in this fashion. We haven't seen it like this. We haven't seen this approach brought to bear on an issue like this. We haven't seen this kind of analysis. Okay, in one case, what wisdom is this? In another case, we have not seen it in this way or in this fashion. Okay, so what do you want to do this week? You need to do something new, not for the sake of just doing something new that will be a waste of time. You must be purposeful at all times. You must be intentional at all times for you to be effective, for you to be effective. And, one of the ways that you can do that is by creating a new challenge or a puzzle. In John chapter 6, verses 1, down to 10 or thereabout, you would see Jesus create a challenge for his people, at that point, a challenge they had never experienced before. He was going to feed 5,000 people. And it was bad enough that he was trying to feed 5,000 people. He threw them a challenge. He said, look, these guys have been following us. We need to feed all of them. The guy said, wow, how can we feed 5,000 people, for God's sake? I mean, these guys have learned from you. You have been teaching them the whole day. Now let them go home and sort themselves out. He said, no, it's not done that way. That's not what a leader does. A leader sees to the well-being and the welfare of the people. They have invested their time listening to you. You also should invest your resources, appreciating them. That was what he was saying. And, as if that wasn't bad enough, when they found some little food, they said, look, there's one lad who has, 5 loaves and 2 fishes. And he said, okay, bring it. What? You are going to feed or attempt to feed 5,000, men, excluding, women and children. You're going to try to feed them with just a little boy's meal. Wow, that was new, a new challenge, he put before them. And notice, he was asking them, how can we feed these people? So you want to throw out a new challenge. You want to put out there a new puzzle that they would learn from, and in this case, they learned from it. They learned a great deal of example. They saw new possibilities. They had new insights. They were encouraged afresh. They knew there was more. From that encounter, they knew there was more to doing leadership than what they had seen up to that point. Now, when you do something like that, it is clear that your people will be looking out for what new thing you're going to do next. They would know that there is still more inside you, than they have seen. You create that, culture of looking out for new things, which is a healthy culture, which keeps them, expectant, which keeps them, excited, all right, to learn, excited to learn. You need to have that kind of environment. That's not an environment that will promote complacency. That's an environment that keeps everyone on his or her toes. You don't want to miss out on that new thing. The way that will be created in the wilderness, the river that will flow, in the desert places, amazing, wonderful things. All right, that's what you have a responsibility to do. Behold, I do a new thing. Now, you can't tell me that, and then I will take you for granted at any point in time. I will always be looking out for the new thing that you're going to do. What new things can you do? Take your people, explore new frontiers and opportunities, explore new market segments, explore new product ideas, challenge them, all right, to review successes that you have had before and see how you can improve on them. Okay, what new thing can you bring to bear? Reveal a new side of who you are. Tell a new story about a past encounter, something that they can learn from. Or if you like, speak a parable to them, just as Jesus was fond of, speaking. That was one of the things that Jesus also need to use, was using, telling stories, okay, stories that were not told just for the sake of it, stories that were told, all right, to hand them specific nuggets about how to succeed in life. Just as I'm handing you the nugget today, saying to you, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to spice things up in your leadership. It is time to spice things up in your leadership. Too much nonchalance, too much predictability, too much familiarity. These things are undermining the effectiveness of what you have, all right, to offer. And you can take the quality of your leadership up many notches up by introducing a spice. And these are some of the ways you can do it. These are some of the ways you can do it. Now, Jesus used parables every step of the way, and he never repeated a parable twice. Never. He always taught with parables. He never repeated a parable twice. Okay. And what does that mean? So each time the people were anticipating what new parable is he going to bring. And many times they didn't have an understanding of the parable. So they would ask him questions, and then he would use those questions to break down the parables. So they learn. They were always learning. They were always anticipating. They were always looking for what's the next parable. Now, that kind of environment, you can't get too familiar with the leader. You can't get too familiar with the leader. Every step of the way you are learning. You see a leader who is also committed to learning, committed to depositing value into the people. That's what this is all about. To spice things up in your leadership is to open your eyes, challenge yourself, you know, every step add value. Every step add value. All right. Not don't shroud yourself in secrecy, but shroud a part of how you do leadership in secrecy. A secrecy in a way that yes, it's predictable. It was predictable that Jesus was going to tell a parable. They knew that the slightest thing happens, he brings out a parable, he knocks them back, he makes them interested, it creates a riddle, and they want answers to it. Excitement about following him. Excitement about following him. A challenge that you still don't know everything. There is much more for you to learn. And they were always on their toes. They were always alive. They were always active. That's what the leadership journey ought to entail. That's what the leadership journey ought to entail. So you create a culture of looking out, your people looking out for new things. Share something about yourself that you haven't shared with them before. An experience, it could even be an experience where you failed, all right? And what you learned from it yet is a new thing. You can, share something that you have learned with them. I remember in my days, I used to, at every review session, I used to come up with a book. So it was predictable that I would come up with a book that we all will read. All my guys will read, and then we will discuss at the next meeting. But you never know what book I was going to bring up. You never know what subject, I was going to ask us to focus on. You never knew who was going to be nominated as the one to lead and anchor, that session. So, that was one of the way that I spiced up my leadership conduct at the time. So you may have just read a book, you may have just received a perspective. It's time to share it with your people. All right. Something that they've not seen it like this before. All right. Something, I mean, if you are just learning it, most likely, they will just be learning it. Or there will be something, that they haven't learned. I mean, if there are people who have learned it before, then it will be exciting as well, to have a session where you can have a discussion on it. You can also have a situation where you call for a brainstorming session on one subject area or the other. Just get your guys together. Let's, challenge, generate ideas about an aspect of the business, ideas about, the environment you're operating in, ideas about what new innovations you can introduce. Those kinds of sessions also creates creates spice for your leadership. Um, Give them a new experience. Give them a new experience. All right. You may want to take them out. Okay. To some occasion or the other, take them out to lunch on your account. Take them out to a new place. Take them out to a new project. All right. That you'd like to see. Reach out. It could even be something that has nothing to do with your core function. But guess what it does? All right. It introduces something new. It helps you in one way or the other. All right. To bond with the team, to build confidence in the team, to build faith of the people in you, all right, to excite them that there is so much to learn from you, so much that you have to offer, so much that together you all can still accomplish. It's important, ladies and gentlemen, to spice things up every now and then. Learn to spice things up. Familiarity, as I said earlier, it breeds contempt. When your people get too familiar, you become less and less effective in your leadership. You become boring as a leader. Don't become boring as a leader. All right. Don't become boring as a leader. You can become boring as a leader. It's the same review sessions, it's the same statements that you repeat. You don't even make an effort to change the way you speak. You are not improving yourself. So there is nothing, new that you have to share. You become boring. When you become boring, your people lose interest. They believe you down, the value, that they have of you is deflated. They bring you down from the high pedestal that they once put you. You make yourself look like, you are done, you are spent. There's nothing more that you need to offer. And most of all, if you are not creating a new thing, if you are not spicing up, your leadership conduct, then you may as well even lose interest yourself, get frustrated yourself. Things begin to get to you more than they used to. And there are unwanted aspects of you that may begin to show up. And you don't want that to happen. So, my nugget for you this week, and trust me, it's important. Trust me, this is one crucial nugget. If you will engage it, I imagine that you would come back and just share your experience, with us and with others who are listening, to this broadcast. I want to thank you for joining me again this morning. As you know, every Monday, 11 a.m. West African time, you take delivery of a nugget so that you are helped to doing leadership right. That's my commitment. That's my commitment. I hope that you've picked up something valuable this morning. And please, if you have, share this link, share the video with others. And I hope you have hit the subscribe button. If you haven't done that, please hit the subscribe button so that you can be notified when the broadcasts are going to come up. Let me invite you. I'm starting a series this Wednesday. And this series may be there anytime that you come in contact with this video. By the way, that series, check for the link to be a part of it in the description, or just come back to this channel, my YouTube channel, and you will look for parables for profit. Parables for profit. What I'm doing in that session is a 10-day session. Is I'm going to extray parables that Jesus told to bring out the principles in those parables, show you how to apply, how they apply to different aspects of life, and challenge you, to make the effort to apply them to your lives as a key secret for changing the quality of the life that you're living and the quality of the results that you're getting. Remember, I said it's a 10-day program. It's 45 minutes only. And the reason that it's 10 days is that the first day I'm going to give an overview, all right, speaking to the subject of what parables are, why they're important, why you and I need to undertake, a life transforming adventure by walking through them to understand them. And on each of the remaining 9 days, I'm going to be showing how you can apply those parables to specific areas, key priority areas, I call them, of our lives. And that's your career, number one, your business, number two, your relationships, number three, your leadership conduct, number four, the managing of your finances, number five, managing of your investments, number six. We're also going to be talking about character development, number seven. We'll be talking about healthy living, number eight, and then your spiritual development as the final part. So an overview on the first day, and on each of the 9 days, I would speak to specific aspects of your life, how you can profit, from parables in those areas. 45 minutes, you get a taste of it. And thereafter, if you want to go full blown, then you come for the profit from parables program. Okay, so the first is, these are the parables for profit. These are resources that you can take advantage of in the pursuit of profitable growth, all right, in your life. And if you find them to be a useful set of sessions, then you can come in for the profit from parables to show how you can unlock, the benefits that those parables have to offer in very concrete terms. So check out the link. The program is free for the first 45 minutes. For those who want to participate by Zoom, have the opportunity of asking questions, you may register as a VIP for a token sum, and then you would be able to ask questions live and also stretch the session for another 45 minutes. So that's how we do it at Embark Leadership Academy, where leaders are nurtured based on truth. And it's been Leadership Monday. Today, we have been speaking on the subject, add spice to your leadership. And my name remains Olatunji Shobodu. See you on Thursday. Join me on Thursday. I'll be speaking on something very, very important. It will be a more substantive, session. And I'm asking a question. Why are strong leaders hypocrites? Why strong leaders are hypocrites? You don't want to miss that session. You don't want to miss that session. All right. So by the grace of God, I'll see you on Thursday, same time, 11 a.m. West African time. And that's what we'll be discussing. Then it will be leadership in 30 minutes. This is Leadership Monday. Thank you for joining me. Enjoy the rest of your week. Have a fantastic and glorious week. God bless you and keep you and give you a great encounter this week. In Jesus' name, amen. Bye-bye.